I recently made this drawing of my Dottie dog over here, and the fine folks at Envato thought it would be fun if I did some drawings of some of their pets. In this video, we're gonna get into that. What do you think about that, Dottie dog? Although it was a challenge, I selected a handful of the pets submitted to demonstrate different ways of using stylization to create unique and fun illustrations. What are these different ways, you may be asking? Well, let me tell you. The first one will be done using just simple shapes. The second one will use some anthropomorphism. Is it anthropomorphism? Physics? Making it have people features. After that, I'll do one incorporating some hand lettering, and then I'll do one using some simple motion to enhance something about the character. And then there's gonna be another wildcard option at the end that you're just gonna have to stick around for. Can't give it away now. My name is Chris Piascik. I am a professional illustrator and letterer. I've done work for clients like Nickelodeon, Google, Nike, Cartoon Network, Adidas, and tons more. I also have a growing YouTube channel where I talk about this kind of stuff. If that sounds relevant to your interests, you should check it out after this one. It's just my name, Chris Piascik. You just search for that. Hey, I'm Chris. You can also see more of my work on my website, chrispiascik.com, or on whatever is the current coolest social media platform. Also, you may have guessed because of the whole drawing their pets, but this video is brought to you by Envato. Unlimited creative assets in the broadest range of categories, all in one place. Follow the link in the description and start creating now. Well, not exactly right now, because we're gonna watch this video. After this video, you can start creating. To kick things off, we are going to draw this adorable border collie named Emma. The first one, we're gonna keep things super simple, and we're going to just use simple shapes. In particular, triangles. Whenever you are stylizing something, trying to simplify it, trying to capture its essence, its likeness, you want to think about what is most distinct about that thing that you're drawing and really focus on that and highlight and push that thing and then simplify everything else. That way, the stuff that is most important is going to stand out and help the person recognize the features of the, let's draw Emma. Pulled together a little document here featuring some beautiful shots of Emma. I selected ones that showed important features. I think the triangle is going to work particularly well for Emma because there's lots of triangles already in her features. So if we come in here, we can see we've got this big triangle, and we've got these triangles for the back legs. Feet could be little triangles. We got like the rest of the body. If we look at the head, we got this triangle. Then this folded ear is like two triangles, like that. So we can come in here, do that body triangle. And then we've got those little legs, not little legs, the fluffy legs in the back coming down. And because we're stylizing this, I'm not, trying to be exact. I'm doing it quick and loose, not trying to get it perfect right off the bat, because that's a surefire way to lose the stylization because you spend too much time focusing on little details that aren't important and not on the overall vibe that Emma is giving us. So the front legs, we can start with like another triangle here for the neck. Emma's got these almost like a triangular fluffs coming out the side. So maybe we'll do some of those like this for that part of the face, and then the same over here. This big triangle ear, some little ones like that, and then we'll do that folded over ear because that's cute. And then I think we'll do like a look back pose with the tongue hanging out. So although that's a subtle look back, it is, she is turning her head and looking backwards, so I want to exaggerate that expression. I'm gonna pull that nose even further. Just use a simple triangle. You can use a little triangle for that part of the nose, and then we can come back here and do the same for the tail. Come in with other little triangles like this. So what I would do now is bring down the opacity of this sketch and now use this as like a framework to go further. I'm just going to kind of widen this up a little bit so we have a little bit more room. I think that nose shape is fine. Her eyes are very distinct. They're round and bright. I'm gonna make these eyes nice and big to showcase the character of this lovely little doggy. Then we could do like the blue around the outsides when we get to color. So I really want to exaggerate that sort of smile that's going on. Pull this up a little bit. Even just that, I feel like really kind of captures it. And then this really bright pink tongue I think is going to be great in this drawing because it's mainly like black, whites, and grays. And again, I'm going to exaggerate it. I'll do this smile. And I'll just sort of pull this tongue down like that. Look how happy, how she Look how happy she looks now. Pull that fluffer out a little bit further. And keep these legs nice and simple. Just use these little triangle feet. Do some triangles like that. Just kind of bring these back legs down a little bit lower so they line up with the front ones. There's like a little bit of extra fluff on the ear there, like that. So just go like that. Now I'm just going to kind of come in and get these distinct markings for the color. We've got almost like a framing of the head here. And this side comes up around the eye a bit. So with the sketch in a good place, the next step for me is to just bring down the opacity, make a new layer, and do a tightened up version where I just clean it up a little bit, make my lines a little bit more confident, a little bit more intentional, and just get a clean overall outline that I will use to then go in and add color. Noticed here that there was a little bit of detail where I had the black coming up over the eye, but I noticed the white kind of cuts in a little bit there, so I wanted to make sure that I got that accurate. If you look closely, this coat color is a little bit complicated, but because this is a super stylized caricature, I'm going to keep it pretty simple. I'm going to stick with, I think, just white, black, and gray, and just sort of try to match loosely the overall coverage so that it's not exactly this fur, but it's clear that it's representation of this dog. On a layer below, I'm going to just select a gray, and I'm going to set this layer to reference just so I can fill the whole thing in, because I think that it's going to make my life a little bit easier to color it. Let's just give this nice pink tongue. I think that's it. So I can release this reference, and now what I'm going to do is just do a layer on top and clip it to this so I can color in the other areas of the fur and have it just stay within the overall dog furage. Okay, so I think what we can do now is just come in and add a little bit more black details on top. And I think we nailed it. I think this is a pretty accurate representation of Emma. Let's do another one. All right, next up, we've got a cat. And this cat is named Cleto. I'm told the name comes from famous Mexican boxer. So, I mean, we gotta make this cat a boxer, right? And we're basically just gonna make a cat standing up, ready to punch someone right in the face. Let's get into it. So what is distinctive about this cat from a lot of other cats is it's got that round face. Got pretty big eyes. It's almost like one of those smushy face cats, which is what I originally thought when I saw this picture down here. Oh, there's a little baby sleeping with a smushy face. But up here, it doesn't really have that, but it does have a distinct face. It is a distinct cat. You wouldn't mix it up with a different cat. I think this is gonna be a fun one. The head is more round than usual, so I'm gonna kind of lean into that roundness. Just kind of start with that. The ears are kind of small-ish, and they're sort of out to the side a little bit, like that. The eyes are pretty big and round, relatively low on the face. I know Cleto's sleeping down here, but the angle would be good for the anger of this boxer, who's super tough. Little kitty nose. There's kind of like a little bit more character going on here, so it's kind of like a little smirk, like I'm gonna punch you right in the face. You're not even gonna know. It's not looking great yet, but we're staying loose and we're just figuring out shapes right now. I'm realizing the head, the facial features need to be much lower. I think we also need to fix this shape a little bit. It's not looking good, but it's okay if it doesn't look good as you're starting, because you're figuring out, you're focusing on what's distinct about this character and kind of taking it from there. What I'm noticing is the shape of the head. I made it too round. It does need to sort of come out like this at the bottom, and we can kind of accentuate the roundness by pulling that side out a little bit. It's also kind of a chonky cat, if we're being honest. All right, we're getting better already. I think the ears need to be a skosh pointier. Exaggerate this expression even more. because this is a tough boxing cat. It's kind of like a wide nose for a cat. So I'm gonna kind of exaggerate that width. Keep that smirk going. I think once we pull in like those distinct features, like this stripe coming down, and then there's like these like wishbone looking things, we're gonna get the Cleto vibe again. Then we got these kind of fun little things coming off the side. Look at that expression. Cleto is ready to throw down. He's gonna punch all kinds of faces. We need to figure out the body. As I mentioned, Cleto is not a little, he's a little bit of a chonker, so we're gonna give him a thick body. So I'm thinking do like a broad chest situation, torso, have this fist coming up like that. I'm not trying to make this realistic, I'm trying to do cartoony vibes. And then maybe this one is like coming up like, oh, I'm gonna punch you right in the face. You're not even gonna believe the amount of face punching that I'm gonna do to you. That pose is not what I wanted. And this is another teachable moment, because if I just went in here trying to draw tight and I just started like doing all this like detail on the glove, trying to make a tight drawing of this boxing glove, and then zoomed out and be like, oh, this pose sucks. I'm gonna sort of get the rest of this body in here as what I'm thinking, and then focus on getting that pose right. So I think just like simple little legs, because we don't care about the legs. This is a big boxing punching cat. Bringing down the opacity of all of this, and now let's just like quickly like focus on getting this pose right. Like this whole fist needs to come further and then just sort of come down more aggressively. The whole thing needs to like kind of lean down a little bit. That pose is already better about what I want. In addition, like having the head sort of cocked a little bit, like you said what? You said I had a stinky litter box? Oh no, you didn't! Do like one of those like waistband. Oh, we could put his name on his trunks. Is that what they call them? Trunks? Stripes on the side. Little boxing boots. See what I'm saying? I think we gotta tighten this up. So now with the overall outline done, we can go in and add some of these details. Because I want this expression to really stand out, I'm not gonna go full black on those marks. I'm gonna do them in like a gray so that the expression and the facial features stand out over the pattern. As I mentioned, you want to accentuate the things that are distinct and then let the other stuff kind of fall back a little bit. All right, we're gonna need some red for these boxing gloves. That's pretty good. We'll do the boots red too. Why not? And then because it's famous Mexican boxer, maybe we can do sort of like Mexicanish flag sort of shorts. And then we could try to put his name in the center. I think that's looking good. Now we just need to do some more of the markings because they're pretty distinct. I think maybe just a tiny bit of shadow could be nice for this one, just to, I don't know, add a little bit. So to do that, I'm just gonna make a new layer, set it to multiply, and I'm just gonna grab like a light purpley gray, like this, and then I can draw on over everything, and it'll just add a nice shadow effect to the entire thing. Let's get scratching. All right, this is Cleto. I think we nailed it. Let's look at them side by side. I think it looks pretty good. He looks pretty tough. I think he's gonna fight he's gonna be a champion. Cleto's a champion. It's ridiculous. Let's do another one. This is fun. Are you having fun? Because I'm having fun. All right, we did a dog. We did a cat. Let's change it up. I have a fluffy bunny that goes by the name of Hamlet, aka Ham Boy, aka Ham Baby, aka Little Baby, aka Fluffington Bum. With all these names, we got to do some lettering. Incorporating lettering into an illustration is one of my favorite things to do, so this is going to be a lot of fun. There's not a lot of features to focus on here. We've got this almost like an upside down heart at the bottom. Then it's almost like kind of a fluffy top. So just got these fluffy ears. I'm thinking we can exaggerate the expression to, you know, like maybe the paws are crossed. And I think because in the photo we just see one eye, kind of feels like a side eye, like Fluffington Bum is judging us. So I think I'm gonna lean into that. For overall shape, this is pretty good. I mean, it kind of looks like a butt now, but okay, I think we're at a place where we can tighten this up a little bit. My whole process revolves around this iteration where like I do something kind of crappy, turn down the opacity, make it a little bit better. Sometimes you got to do it a whole bunch of times. Sometimes it's quick. You can draw something bad and then look at it and be like, all right, let me fix what's bad about this. And then eventually you get somewhere good. One of the issues is we need to get that side eye look a little bit. So I think the head needs to look like it's turned a little bit more. And I think it's like too head on. I'm just going to draw like a reference line like this and then just sort of use that to fit the head, like the features in. I think that's okay. So I'm thinking like an overall rough border. The main name is Hamlet, so I'm thinking have that as like the top and like this space. When I'm planning out lettering in a composition, I'll often just use like shapes just to figure out the placement. So blocking it in like full words as shapes. And then we got this longer one, Fluffington Bum, which is my favorite. And I think maybe that could be along the bottom. Maybe because it's so long, it could be 2 words. So maybe it's like, this could be the Fluffington and then like bum. And then maybe we could have the other names like on the sides here. Now that we have that roughly where those words would go, I'm gonna try to refine that shape a little bit to make it a little bit more nice. I think I want to make this shape a little bit more intentional. I'm gonna clean it up a little bit just using the symmetry tool. I'm actually gonna do this in like pink just so it's easier to see. So I'm not necessarily gonna stick to this, but this will be sort of a helpful visual to see as I'm kind of drawing it out. So I'm gonna move that down, bring down the opacity, and now I'm going to just kind of write the words into this space to see how it's gonna fit. So now I can use these letters as just like a reference in terms of placement and sizing to just make something more fun and interesting, more style, more character. So with that opacity turned down and then that pink shape as like a loose guide, I can go in and try to like figure out what we can do to make this look a little bit cooler. So I think because I'm putting these 2 smaller ones on the sides, sort of like little banner kind of things, I think I'm gonna work on those first. Thinking just sort of making a shape like this that can be like a starting point. It's all about making shapes to get you halfway there, and then you can kind of fit what you want to do to that shape. So I'm gonna duplicate this one, flip it, and then I'm gonna double tap the modifier to lock the horizontal axis. That's kind of a Fresco thing, but basically I'm just wanted it on both sides. So however you want to do that, if you're not using Fresco. I'm gonna see what I can do within this space to like, I don't know, make something sort of cool for Ham Baby and a Little Baby. Maybe we could play around with like the tail of the Y. Maybe we could make it like a little 3D burst thing like that. But I think it's a good starting point. Let's see if we can do something similar for a Little Baby. See if we can figure out something for Hamlet. I'll start with an M at the top because it's sort of the center of the word. Although there's 3 letters after the M and only 2 before, we can sort of tuck the L and the E into each other. So I'm just sort of playing, doing some improvised shape, just seeing if I can fit these together in a way that's somewhat interesting. Maybe you could do some little tail thing on the H to work in that space a little bit better. Maybe instead of an uppercase A, lowercase thing like that. It's something. We can come back to it. It's about iteration. Let's do some Fluffington bunniness. What if instead of coming down like this, we kind of use this space left from Ham Baby and do some just like kind of playful, fluffy, chunky letters. Do the same thing over here with the N. We have a new starting point. So I've mentioned this before, but what I like to do now is address the problem areas. So some of the things that aren't working is this like LET area. It's not great. What if we do something similar here where it's not curved? I think what we did with the H over here, I like the lowercase a. I feel like it's a little bit more playful. So that's better. It's not completely better, but it's a step in the right direction. I think what I'm gonna do is just make a line here for the top of these 2 little words. That way I can focus on just the Hamlet for now. I don't want there to be like a perfect top. I want it to be breaking that border a little bit so it's like a little uneven, a little bit more playful. That'll give it a little bit more energy and just a little bit more playfulness. All right, I think this Hamlet lettering is looking pretty good. I think that the other stuff is working pretty well as is too. I think we can just go ahead and tighten this up. All right, next step is color. Given this whole vibe and these little hearts, making like some pinks and red to really accentuate this bunny. I don't want to go completely hot pink, maybe more of like a red. Fill that in. I'm just gonna do sort of like a dark gray. That, and then fill in the eyeballs. Let's get a little bit of a tan color for that other stuff, like around the eyes, and there's like a little spot on the ear, and the nose, circles around the eyes. I'm gonna assume the other eye is like that too. A little bit around the nose, and like the lower part of the face. I think this also helps to, you know, give little ham baby a little more expressive features. Then that little spot up on the top of the ear. It looks like there's some on the chest. I think that'll add to his je ne sais quoi. Is that je ne sais? I don't know, isn't that a thing people say? A little je ne sais, I have no idea what I'm talking about. Like little socks. He got all colored in and dipped his feet in a little bit of bleach. So my plan for the lettering is to not do any of that in black so that the character stands out and then the lettering is a little bit separate. So I'm thinking I'm gonna use this gray as like the frame for this little side lettering. Let's just go with like a bright red for the name, the main name, like that. I think that's a good red. I don't want to go darker. I think I just need to make the background a little bit lighter. What if we do just like a slightly darker pink to outline this lettering? Okay, I think this one could just benefit from a little bit of shadow like we did on the other one. I'll just grab a light purple, set that to a multiply. Then we'll just come in here and just give this just a little bit more. That's Hamlet, aka Ham Baby, aka Little Baby, aka Fluffington Bum. Wanna do another one? Okay, me too. Let's go. Okay, next up is Ginger the guinea pig. For this one, we're gonna use some simple motion to bring this character to life. Don't get worried that this is gonna turn into some complicated animation tutorial. It's not. I'm not even gonna change software. I'm gonna do this right in Adobe Fresco on my iPad. We're just gonna do some simple looping movement to just, I'll show you. We're gonna do it. Am I recording? Ginger is pretty simple in terms of shapes. Sort of just a ball with a face. Adding a little bit of motion, I think, is really gonna bring this to life. It's just staring blankly, kind of in a dazed state with just some grass hanging out of its mouth, and that's kind of silly. My plan is to just have like a looping chewing motion that every now and then stops to just do this sort of like blank stare, or just like, huh? I'm actually gonna use this photo as like a starting point, just using the features as like a reference to sort of, you know, speed up the process. First things first, I'm just gonna kind of get the overall body shape mostly the same. Might sort of exaggerate it a little bit, but really, we don't have to do too much. Can't really see them because of the grass, but I know that they have these like silly little feet. I'm gonna exaggerate these cheeks, kind of puff those out a little bit, and then just simplify the nose. And we just got this sort of the mouth part. And I'm just kind of exaggerating it because if you look, it's sort of curved a little bit, and I think that like makes it sillier. If you look closely, it's sort of like the mouth is open a little bit. It's like, oh, what? What happened? The eyes are like a very expressive part of this where they're like staring blankly. Even though they're just like black eyes here, I'm taking some artistic liberty in not doing that here because I feel like we can express the gist and vibe of this character a lot better with some bigger eyes. I'm gonna go like that, and I'll put some over here as well. Like that expression, I feel like looks more accurate of the expression the guinea pig is making than the actual photo of this guinea pig. Little floppy ears. And there we go. That's our guinea pig. So because the body is just this static kind of ball, I'm gonna do the drawing in 2 separate layers because I wanna do some motion. I only wanna do it in the face. So because I'm gonna animate frame by frame, sort of like flipbook style, where I just draw different frames and then have them loop through, I don't wanna redo the body each time. So I'm just gonna put the body on its own layer separate, and then we can do the face on its own layer. So I'll just tighten this up like I did with all the other ones. Okay, so I got ginger mostly colored in. Decided to do a dark orange line work for everything except for the facial features. This way we can really get that expression to pop by having it have the most contrast. As you can see, I have the body on its own layer, and then I have the facial features on its own layer. And this is where I'm gonna do some simple frame by frame animation to get that chomping, chewy face. On the face layer, I'm gonna click on this little animation thing at the bottom. I'm just gonna duplicate this so I have 5 frames. Now that I have them on each frame, I'm gonna go ahead and select the stuff that I don't want to repeat, the stuff that I'm gonna be animating, which is the cheeks and the mouth part. And now I'm just gonna erase that from each of these frames. Okay, we want 1 frame, we want like the opposite of full cheeks, so we want skinny cheeks. I'm gonna come in here and draw compressed smaller cheeks like this, and then maybe this is up a little bit higher. So now we've got like those 2 positions, and just with those 2 frames, you sort of already get the chewing movement, but to get it smoother, I'm just gonna draw a mid ground between them to make that movement a little bit more fluid and smooth. So now I'm gonna go to the end because we want this sequence to loop naturally. I'm actually gonna temporarily duplicate that first frame and put it at the end. So now we can see what the first frame is gonna look like where we want it to loop. So I think I'm actually gonna do 1 here that's just even more exaggerated, just mega chonky cheek action, just like mega swole cheekage. Okay, so now that we have that, we can go ahead and delete that extra frame again. And now we can test it out and see how it looks. That looks like some pretty good chewing, I have to say. Now that we have this movement okay, I'm just gonna kind of use this now as my guide and redraw these and just exaggerate it and make it a little bit more playful. And also I think with this mouth part moving, I think the nose needs to wiggle a little bit with it as well. But I think trying to do all of that at once would get a little confusing, and here we were able to just focus on the cheeks. Okay, so because these cheeks are so pushed out, on this one I'm actually just gonna draw the nose higher. Okay, so now we can turn off the sketch layer and then come back here and turn onion skins back on and finish the noses. Yeah, I think the nose moving helps quite a bit. The only thing is I think we should add some of those little whiskered holes, whatever they are. Let's see how that is. That's pretty good chew action. We'll need to have the grass wiggling around. I think it can just constantly move a little bit, and then we'll need the eyeballs. I think we want to exaggerate that sort of blank stare. Try to get that 10 yard stare. Is that what it's called? Maybe put a little highlight on them. That's the look. I'm also noticing these wild whiskers. I think we need to put those in the animation as well. The cool thing about Fresco is each layer has its own timeline, so you can experiment without messing up the whole animation. Like I don't know if the whiskers are gonna look great and how to animate them in terms of movement. So I'll just make a new layer and we can try it out and see what happens. So they're just sort of wild and going in every which direction. So I think I just wanna play up that. Maybe not a ton, maybe just like a few. So I'm just sort of making them wiggle a little bit as the cheeks move. What I think will be helpful is to do what we did before, where we duplicate the first frame for the end to use as a guide so that we can sort of try to get them to naturally go back to where they need to be. For this frame, what we'll do is just do a halfway point between where those whiskers were so they don't look like they jump. Then we can go ahead and delete that last frame and see how that looks. I think they add a little bit to it, so let's do the grass. I think I'll start with this green color and then just make a darker version of it for the outline. So now I'm just gonna do a sequence of this where I trace it, but I'm gonna move it like a little bit. We want it to just be looping, so we don't want it to change a lot. We want it to look like it's the moment in time, staying still. I'm gonna do the same thing where I duplicate the first frame, drag it to the end, and then here I will just draw a middle point. One thing to keep in mind when you are doing motion like this and having different things happen on each layer, you just want to make sure the sequences are compatible in terms of amount of frames. And what I mean by that is each of these layers that we're doing has 5-frame sequences. So they're all just gonna line up. But if on one of them you did like a 3-frame, when the 3-frame went twice, there would still be a frame left on the 5-frame sequence, and then they would get out of sync and it could look weird. I think this area on the bottom is a little wild. We could erase it, but an easier solution would be to just go to transform and then choose frame. Then we could just go to liquify and then go to warp. We could just kind of push this down a little bit and kind of do it for all of these. Now it's still moving, but it's not completely crazy. So I think this would be good as is. However, really want to capture that expression where Ginger is like not chewing, the mouth has dropped a little bit and they're just like, oh. But I don't want it to happen all the time. I want there to just be chewy, 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 chew for a whole bunch of time, lots of chewing, and then it happens. So to do that, I'm just gonna duplicate this sequence a bunch of times so that it loops over and over again, and then we get to that facial expression that we sketched out earlier. Hold that for a little bit and then go back to the sequence. So I'm gonna do that and I'll report back to you. Okay, so here's the final result for Ginger. I think it's pretty hilarious. I hope you like it too. All I did was loop that chewing sequence a few different times, and then I just added in that frame where the mouth drops down. I decided at the end that it would be funny if the eyes looked back, and then just a simple little blink, which was literally just a frame with the eyes shut, and I just looped it. Pretty simple, pretty straightforward. I feel like it really adds a lot to this character. If it was just static illustration, I don't think it would have nearly as much fun and humor. All right, let's do one more. Okay, last but not least is Red the shrimp. Let's look at the photos. Listen, I don't know about you, but this doesn't look like anything. How am I supposed to stylize this? What are we gonna do? I can barely tell what I'm even looking at. I'm not a shrimp expert. I don't even know like where. Listen, we're gonna need a new plan of attack, and this is where my bonus technique that I mentioned is gonna come into play. We are going to reimagine Red the shrimp as a character in a cartoon, let's say in the world of SpongeBob. First things first, I got this anatomic drawing Anatomic? Is it anatomical or anatomic? Anatomic? Anatomical. I think that sounds silly. Anatomical. This is a drawing of a scientific drawing of a shrimp that has a diagram of what it looks like. So this is helpful to me because this photo, not that helpful. No offense. I mean, I can't imagine it's very hard to photograph a shrimp in a tank. They're not good at posing for pictures. So we've got this, and I'm gonna use that paired with, I don't know, the color of red. I don't know what else we're gonna get from there. And then stylize it like a cartoon. So I gathered some SpongeBob characters to take some inspo from, and we're gonna try to make this work. It's like we're coming up with a new character to go in SpongeBob based on Red the Shrimp. So I'm thinking we can take this top area and use that as like the head, like that's all head. And then like the tail can be the lower half of the body, something roughly like kind of curved back. We got those like tail things that are similar to the lobster, but it looks like maybe there's less here. We can just sort of like use this top piece. It's like the head. Looks a little questionable right now, but we're gonna fix it. I'm thinking just like the lobster's got that thing as a nose, we could do that for the shrimp. Cause like who knows what a shrimp even really looks like. I mean, I know people know what they look like, but like, do they? So when I look at Red over here, the eyes look like they kind of bug out a little bit. And I think that'll help kind of stylize it and also bring it into that SpongeBob world. And he's already looking kind of fun. We could do those like eyelid things. I feel like he can have a little bit of an attitude where he's just like, ooh, I'm a fancy shrimp. He's doing a side look. Maybe we can lean into that expression and do like a little, excuse me. Oh, then maybe those like tentacle things could be sort of like mustache vibey. Yeah. Okay. The body has like different sections, so I think we should kind of do that down here. There's a lot of legs going on. There's no way to know exactly how many. And then maybe we'll just do some like 2 sets of ones that are sort of like arms that have little grabby things. So I'm going to tighten this up, and I think that we're going to get there with this. All right, for this one, I spared you watching me do the tightened up line work because you've seen me do it on 4 other drawings. It was the same process. I just cleaned it up a little bit and made the lines a little bit better. I just want to give it some color and a little bit more detail to just make it feel like it could be in this world with these other characters. And I think we just need a couple little details. So I think what I'll do is just take this darker red that we were already using and then just bring it into some of these areas that I want just a little more separation on. Maybe a little of the lighter color in some of the darker areas, like this. All right, here's the final set of the 5 different lovely little animals that we drew together. I hope you had as much fun as I did. Don't forget to like and subscribe. There is so many amazing tutorials and videos here on the Envato channel that you can't go wrong subscribing. You want them to show up in your feed. And you know, you could come check out my channel too. We got a lot of good stuff going on over there. If you liked this video and you're still here, you're definitely gonna like my channel. So I would head over there. I think it's been a good talk. What do you think? Let me know in the comment which of these animals is your favorite, whether in regard to the drawing or just in general. All right, I'll see you soon. Bye. Little daddy baby, little daddy doody daddy, little daddy, dabba daddy daddy.